Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Secrets from the Saddle with host Sylvie Doe here. And I'm super excited to bring you one of our amazing Canadian athletes, Kirsti Lay. Now she's in Calgary, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So she's in Calgary, and the amazing thing about her story and we're going to hear all about it. She went from speed skating, and I just go explain a little or give you a little bit of background. Speed skating, road racing, elite cyclist to mom. And so for us, we're going to get a little bit of the front line of how she got into sport, but then we're going to go and dive right into motherhood, which I personally think as a mom is super important. So here's a little bit of background for Kirsti. And so she used to be a former Canadian professional racing cyclist who rode professionally for the UCI women's team rally, UHC cycling from 2016 to 19. Now, winning a bronze medal at the team pursuit at the UCI Track World Championships in 2015, she started her elite career in long track speed skating. So can you think of any other one of our Olympic athletes who went that route, speed skating to road cycling? Listen to this. So she competed in 3 UCI World Junior Championships. It was at the Calgary Olympic Oval, where she was inspired by none other than Clara Hughes, and that led her into her career, her secondary elite career as a road cycling racer. So welcome, Kirsti. I'm so excited to have you here, and let's just get right into it. Let's hear this front story. Like, how did you get into, and of course, how old were you when you first got into your first career?
Well, I started speed skating when I was 10. I was from Medicine Hat, so it was just something my friend brought me to. I had no clue what it was, and I gave it a shot, and I loved it. And just from there, I loved the environment of just traveling and being with my friends and racing, being competitive. So it was pretty easy. It didn't really feel like I had to make it. I just had so much fun. So that was the best part. And then I made the national team when I was 16 with a junior world team. And then I continued through senior ranks and got to some World Cups. And then in 2012, I injured my ankle. So basically, that's kind of what led me to switch sports, obviously. But we have these boots in speed skating where they mold them entirely to your foot with carbon fiber. And mine was molded slightly wrong, I think, and I injured my ankle. So basically, I lost all feeling in one foot, and when I would put my skate on, so it was like a nerve issue, and I couldn't feel my foot on the ice, which is kind of an issue when you're going that fast. And also,
I would say,
yeah, and you're trying to, be the best of the world at what you do, or strive for that, and you just know that that's going to hinder something.
So how does that work? Like, and first, before I ask the question, I love that you started at 10, because, and I'm sure you're going to find this as a mom, you don't want to push your kids too fast into sport. And we're like that too. Like, we want our kids to play and have fun. And I think 10 is probably the best time to kind of niche it down to something that they can focus on. Is that how you felt like at that time? Like,
yeah, I was in like almost every sport I begged my parents to put me in, and to the point where there was no time left in the day. So they were just
narrowed it down to one. It was speed skating. This is what I want to do. You're like, oh my God, finally.
I know. Once I really found speed skating, I kind of didn't want to do anything else. Like I said to my mom, like, nah, like I'm fine here. Like, just like sign me up for everything that I can do here. So like, I think my parents let me choose entirely, and that was my passion. So, and they never pushed me once to continue. Like, if I walked in the room and said, I don't like this anymore, they'd be like, okay. Like, they were just so supportive that way, which is how I want to be with my kids. So, And then I think you do it longer because you enjoy it. It's like for the right reason.
Yeah, I think when there's less pressure to, you know, because it took you 6 years literally to get to a high level.
Yeah.
So that would mean you've been having lots of fun until until
Yeah.
then, and then it kind of like got serious.
Yeah, I mean, you're still having so much fun, but definitely you started training more and like thinking more of like the Olympics and stuff. I mean, you're still pretty young in speed skating. Usually you're older when you go to Olympics. So, but it was a dream.
How did it feel getting to like World Juniors? And there's and you did some World Cups too. So you got to travel a fair amount.
Yeah, I traveled quite a bit with speed skating. The first one was in Finland, and that was so exciting for me. Like, obviously when you're a junior, it's like the end all be all. Like, it's like, if I don't make junior worlds, my career's over. Like, you know, these sort of things. I put a lot of pressure on myself, but it was so fun. And it just opened my eyes to like what you can do with sport and the people you can meet and where you can travel. And so I was just hooked. And that was when I got my first Team Canada gear too. So it's like, you see all the team wearing their gear and you just like want that so bad. So it was like, I still remember it was like probably the highlight of my life. So
when you got it,
yeah, it was
there's
pretty
the jacket or the
suit.
like,
I tried it on in the bathroom of the hotel and I was so excited and it's like
I'm just gonna wear this all the time.
Yeah, I know. I would have slept in it if my mom let me, but it was just like,
can I have 3?
So yeah. So yeah, I traveled quite a bit with speed skating and then World Cups when I was at the senior level. But I got injured shortly after making my first World Cup circuit. So where I was sort of already injured. So it was kind of short-lived, I guess. But
was it all because of your skate, you think, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was like a motor pattern too. So, but as soon as I took my skating boot off, I was totally fine. And my foot would go back. So it's just so skating specific, which is also a blessing because it allowed me still to do other sports pain-free. Like I have no pain to this day. Like it's not something I carry with me.
Wow.
So, yeah,
but it's a weird pressure point thing.
It's right in the tarsal tunnel. So runners get it. And then but it was just like a pressure point and it makes my whole foot go numb. So yeah, not fun at the time. And I went through a lot of emotions because you work so hard to get to this point and then it's just something silly like that and you don't really understand it and why it's happening. So I was so happy to find a second sport because I still felt the competitive bug.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure like you built up some serious skating legs.
Yeah, I mean we've
transitioned well.
Yeah.
So well to track.
Yeah, but I mean I didn't even know. So I transferred to track cycling and like I knew Clara went back and forth and everything and I love cycling so much because we do that in training and speed skating in the summer and by the end, I was always sad when cycling was over. So I knew something was like, I loved it so much. So I'm like, well, maybe I should try this eventually. But, you know, sometimes it's daunting to start a new sport, especially when you're 24. So
yeah. Oh, is that when you made your transition?
Yeah, I was 24 when I started cycling. So
oh, wow.
Pretty late. And I know, I mean.
Well, yes and no. If you're just getting into cycling, yes. But if you've been competitive in another sport, I think you can transition those years pretty easily.
Yeah, for sure. I had the engine and
yeah.
But I was lucky that I was in the right place at the right time. I enrolled in full-time school as soon as I retired from speed skating because I was like, okay, well, got to finish my degree and like I'll move on. I wasn't even planning on doing cycling. And I was printing notes in the Canadian Sports Institute lab just for my next accounting class, and the talent ID lady walked by and she was like, I just heard you retired. Would you like to try cycling? And I was like, okay. And she was like, well, track cycling. And I was like, I don't really know what that is. So I went home and I YouTubed what Team Pursuit was. Cause like, you know, it's kind of an obscure sport slightly compared to road cycling. And yeah, I accepted the invitation to try it for sure. And then within 2 weeks I was in LA with the women's team. So from that won bronze in London. So that was like the quickest like intro to like track cycling I could find. Like obviously I knew right away like how big the gap was to get to their level. So definitely interesting.
How did you find getting on the track for the first time? Like with the single speed?
Yeah, like that was the first time I had tried a single speed, was in LA in the 250. And when I even
oh my gosh,
saw the track, I was like, oh my goodness, like what is
like
this?
As long as you don't run into me, just
yeah. And I thought I was going fast enough, and I start sliding, and I'm like, oh, like it's so nerve-wracking. But obviously they didn't put me anywhere near the girls because I was very dangerous. So I just like was way off the back, like trying to learn how to ride a bike. So it was all the right progression steps, but yet at the same time, they showed me where I needed to be in 4 years if I wanted to make the Olympics, which, as already coming from a high performance sport, like that was the best thing possible for me. So
so were you living in Calgary before? Okay, yeah. So you guys did move from where'd you say not Yellowknife?
Oh, I was in Montreal for a few years, a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm from Medicine Hat, which is
Medicine Hat. That's right.
Yeah.
So Medicine Hat to Montreal, then to Calgary?
No, sorry. Medicine Hat to Calgary for
okay.
And then I was here for, I don't know, I want to say, well, from 16 to 24. And then I was traveling with the team so much. And then I think I lived in Montreal from 2014 to 2017. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, for your team.
No, my husband's from Montreal. So after we got married, we moved there. So,
oh, yeah. Awesome. A Quebecer. Yay.
So I loved it. It was great, but we just came back to be closer to my family. So,
right. Yeah. And the track.
Yeah, it's nice.
So you progressed quite quickly on the track. Yeah. Which is cool. And
yes. My teammates were really patient with me to help me, so it was great. But
well, they're like, we can see I suppose when you can see the potential, there is, like,
yeah. I mean, I crashed a few times in racing, and I'm sure they probably were scratching their heads, like, what are we doing, bringing this girl into the line when she's so new? But they were so patient and would give me so much feedback. And so obviously, like, I just first and foremost would say I'd never like reached the level without my teammates helping me or like helping me. So like, yeah.
It's nice to have, even though it's daunting being thrown into that like so quickly, but like you said, your high performance, you can pick up the tips and feedback quite quickly and make adjustments. So.
Yeah, you already have that analytical side of you and the technical. So, and speed skating so technical, so I was quite used to thinking that way.
Right. Cool. So how it, like, just tell us a little bit about like maybe your best experience or highlight of your track, like your road cycling experience, because it wasn't all on track.
Yeah. So I guess just to put it all condensed, I did focus primarily on track until the Rio Olympics when we won bronze there. So that was just such a focus because it's, you're going for an Olympic medal. And then I had already signed to Rally for that year, the Olympic year. And then after the Olympics, that's when I really dove into road cycling just as a change of pace and everything, because you do need to switch it up to keep things fresh and exciting, especially like if you're planning to go for another quadrennial.
Just another Olympic run.
Yeah, that was definitely my plan. So that's kind of what I did. But I would say the highlight for track, obviously winning bronze at the Olympics was a highlight. But I would even say like we won gold at Pan Am Games in Toronto, which was a home crowd experience.
Nice.
So that was just so cool. And that was like my first big games of some sorts. So, and my family was there, and that was the first time they'd seen track cycling, because obviously track cycling is in South America, all these different places that they never traveled to. So man, that was just like the coolest feeling ever to be in front of a home crowd and win. And then obviously, the Olympics, but so, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that must have been amazing for your parents just to be like,
yeah,
there for you, like when you can't travel with you.
Oh, my dad was so nervous. Mom was like, he can't watch you. Like, she keeps turning around because he's worried. And I'm like, Okay, Dad.
That's okay.
All this, just watch. Like, so it was really cute. But
so I always want to ask, what was your worst moment? Like when you're talking about mental fortitude to race like this and train like this, did you ever have like a serious like depressive point?
yeah,
Where
well,
you
I
kind
mean,
of like,
I would say, sorry. I mean, you go through highs and lows as an athlete. Like it's just a given. And if you're always on top, you like if you're always like running high, usually you haven't pushed the boundaries enough, or you also just haven't continued enough, because there's just so much thrown at you, and a lot of it's out of your control too. So I would say, first, I would say a pretty down spot was when obviously I kept crashing at first starting track cycling, and then I thought that maybe I had like bitten off a little too much and maybe this wasn't it. And so it took me a while to get the confidence again to do that, to go back out there. And it was, like I said, my teammates that believed in me that I could do it, because I had no self-confidence after crashing twice in racing. So not great. But yeah, I would say like it probably came after like the Olympics. You kind of gear up so much for something, and then all of a sudden it's over, but it's this lifelong dream, and it's surprising when it comes. You're like, oh wow, it's here. Like I've always thought of this moment, but now, and it's over. Yeah. And you do so well, but there's still like a big crash after, and then you kind of got to evaluate, like, am I going to keep cycling, and what are my goals, like, sort of thing. So I would say like the post-Olympic blues hit pretty good, and that's why I chose to make new goals in road cycling, just because I felt like the fire in that. So
yeah, I can imagine that the high is the highest, and then after you're like, oh, okay, it's done. Like, now what do I do? Like, do I go for another run? Do I change it? Do I like?
Yeah, there's so many options available, and it's like, oh, should I just go back to school, or should I, like, I'm getting older, like, you just like you evaluate everything, and you probably just need to take a break and just not put any pressure on yourself, really. And
so what was your favorite part of cycling, like the road racing part, like the racing
part? Well, I loved the strategy of road racing, that everything unfolded during the race. So I was the road captain for Rally after 2016, so 2017 for the next 2 years, and that was really fun for me, because I kind of got the bug for like seeing how the race played out, and our director Zach Bell like really helped me with race strategies and reading the race properly. And man, it's just so addicting. Like I wanted to go in every race possible. So
you're like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's so fun. No race is the same in road cycling. And coming from track, everything's so controlled and measured, and kind of like you always kind of have the same style of strategy, because you're refining it, versus road cycling, every race is different, every terrain's different. So that was just such a breath of fresh air, and
and to be outside, no doubt.
Yeah, I love it. It was just so nice. But I mean, you have a bad race, you learn from it, but you're never gonna get that exact situation again. You'll get of it, and then you learn, and so I just like that part so much.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about, because I raced for about 8 years, but at the masters level, but I put together my own team. So I just grabbed a bunch of my girlfriends. I'm like, hey, you want to race? This is 2005. And I have no idea how to race or what it's all about. Let's get, we got a coach, and then we went to our first race, and we're like, oh, that's, it's kind of like eye-opening. Then you either decide if you like it or not. Yeah. And that's kind of like a defining moment. Like, okay, am I going to continue? I didn't like the pain. I didn't like coming last. I didn't, you know what I mean? And that's where I got the bug. And and I would strategize with my team, because I was a manager, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And you just watch, like when you're in the race, you're like watching everybody and learning, especially when you see big teams come out and you're like 3 people. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
It's nice to have some cards to play with if you actually.
Yeah, I know. You like got 8-person team and you're sitting there with, 2 or 3 and you're like, well,
Yeah.
as long as I stay close to these girls, maybe I'll learn something.
Yeah, no, that's it. Especially like if you do road nationals in Canada, it's like rally will have like 6 girls and then
Yeah.
most people have 1 or 2 riders, so it's like definitely not really fair in the terms of the team sense. But
Yeah, you're like, okay, well, obviously this team's gonna do something. So as long as I'm
so
close
like they're
by,
gonna okay, we'll just be defensive, I guess.
yeah, I'll get in the breakaway, and
Yeah.
or I'll try to.
You just read that. You have to read the race. It's always different, but yeah.
Oh yeah, well, and then you're like, yeah, I know it's gonna take me years to be able to, stick with the first 25%. I always say, stay at the top 25. Stay at the top 25.
Yeah, it's better at the front.
It's better at the front. Yeah.
It's rule number 1. Don't go back there.
I know. I took a bunch of girls to an event. Like nothing's a race. Nobody wants to race, but everybody will be super competitive at events, right? Like Grand Fondos and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, we're all lining up. I'm like, it's time to get as close to the front as possible. And they're like, their eyes like, what? I'm like, yeah. I go, you don't start a race like this at the end.
No.
Like, unless you want to be biking by yourself for the whole
or like
100 kilometers, which I don't think you want to. So let's give ourselves a little bit of a chance to get in a group at the front. And, 4 of them out of 12 came with me.
It's usually, so people think that if you go to the front, it's harder work because you're not. But sometimes it's better riders, so that you just like it's easier than going on the back.
And it's not like a race because then you have all different levels at the front, so it spans out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
like the faster ones get to the front, like weed through the slower ones. Yeah, and I'm like, and then you just hop on a group, and just hold on for dear life.
Yeah.
And so they, like, you don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, girls. So, and then only one girl ended up sticking with me at the front until halfway through. And then I got dropped. But I'm like, at least half the race, I didn't have to ride by myself.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's never fun riding by yourself. All right. So did you do any crits?
Yeah, I mean, the North American calendar is very crit heavy, especially even in stage races. So yeah, did quite a few crits.
That's one of my faves. Talk about strategy.
Yeah, I love. It was like a power. Obviously, it's like usually an hour of really intense. So that coming from track too, because you have so much power built up. So BC Super Week every summer was like just so fun and obviously all the prize money's there too. So but
the women still get big prize money.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously not as good as the men, but it's getting better. But at BC Super Week, like I think it's 15 grand for the winner. So
holy crap, really?
Yeah, at Gastown, Gastown Grand Prix. BC Super Week is like the greatest for crit racing. So
wow,
missed it this year because of COVID. They shut everything down. But if you like crits, BC Super Week is your. So,
is that an accumulation of all your points through the weekend?
No, that was a one race go. So it's
holy.
It's called Gastown. It's streamed live every year, and it's 15 grand for the winner, men and women each, and then it goes. Yeah, so you can make quite a bit of money at BC Super Week because there's like, I want to say there's 11 races. Don't quote me on it, but
oh geez, wow. Yeah. Oh, over a week.
Over a week, but it's not accumulation of. It's not an accumulation of points for the prize money. Every event is standalone, and you can enter it.
Oh, that's super cool. So actually, that's kind of nice.
And it ends the following Sunday, so it's a little longer than a week, which is why it's a super week. But yeah, you can, and so people will go and they'll just like, some of them will like target certain races with the big money, because obviously to do 11 crits, you're going to be kind of fried by the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely you kind of pick and choose what you want to do.
Is it the same course?
No, it's all over Vancouver. So
oh, very cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
really
check that out when I get myself back in shape.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The one thing I like about crit. Pardon?
That race. I would love to get in shape again and go out there and do it, because it's just such a fun environment too. It's the summer, and you know, it's low pressure, but you still want to, like, it's just fun. I don't know.
I guess if you go without a team, then you just jump in wherever.
Yeah, you can just ride independent. And, yeah, except I think gas time you might need. I can't remember.
You probably need a UCI license.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay. Well, let's transition from that. So how did you decide to retire?
Well,
or maybe you haven't retired.
No,
sabbatical.
I retired.
Parental sabbatical.
I've definitely retired. Well, obviously my little guy kind of dictated when I got pregnant. So
was that a surprise?
Yeah, it was definitely like a surprise. So I mean, great surprise. It's the best thing ever happened for sure. But I found out actually at like the World Cup before Milton, I thought I had an ear infection because I was so dizzy, and it went to the team doctor, and no, I definitely
he's like
ear infection there. Yeah. So obviously that was a bit of a shock, because I had my eyes set on Tokyo, and but like, yeah, so you go from one day, like I went to bed thinking I would, thinking of the next Olympic cycle, and you wake up and you're thinking of like what crib to buy. So it's quite interesting. It was like really crazy shift. And then obviously things stop right away, because sport uses your body. So I'm not going to race. I'm not going to. So you almost go on, maternity leave early, which I found quite challenging, because I was, so used to like having a set schedule, and I felt really good still. Like I found out, when you first find out you're pregnant, usually you still are pretty good at sport because the blood level is so high.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at that point, so I was feeling really good on the bike, and I was so confused. Like, and I remember even telling my coaches, and I think I'd tell them like 6 times. They were like, they didn't understand. And I was like,
I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
What?
So,
no.
And I mean, a couple of weeks later, I'm like, I can't, I'm so tired. So it like goes quickly, but.
Oh, I had one of my best races when I was pregnant.
Yeah, it's quite
but I was 4 months. It wasn't like.
Okay. Oh no, I definitely knew before that. So.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think I can't remember. I'm foggy right now, but anyway, so I found out as a surprise for sure, but it was like the best surprise. So I retired. I didn't retire actually till after he was born, because I wasn't sure if I was going to come back to cycling,
mm-hmm.
knowing it's definitely an option. A lot of endurance sports, you're better post baby as well. So and you see other women doing it. Lizzie's did it, and she's amazing already. Like, it didn't take her long, and so it was definitely an option, and I had the support to do it. But it was after I took a few months after he was born, and I just my heart had changed entirely.
Like, I think I want to hang out with my kid.
Yeah, like
over.
I mean, like, I think it's awesome when moms come back and they're still the best at, like, they just, I think it's so, I just love those stories. But for me personally, my heart had changed, and I still love cycling. I love watching it. I love hearing about it, but I would rather have him on the back of my bike than me by myself training. So that was
and I was looking at your Facebook page, and I love that time. Like, I remember when my daughter I have a couple pictures in the, in the seat on the bike, and she's I'm like,
he's such a chill baby that it made it really easy for me to, like, I'd go up for 3 hours and he would be so happy, and sometimes he even brings his helmet to me. He just likes it so much. So
cool.
It was really easy. Like, I was like, okay, you want to go biking? Gladly. So
let's go.
And, like, we'll nap in the back seat, which is kind of funny. He's just so relaxed. So definitely lucked out. But
do you have a big chariot as well?
Yeah, I usually just use the chariot for running because I find it quite heavy and awkward, and so I got the Thule seat, the attachable seat to the frame for actually getting out, and I got a gravel bike, so I'm not going very fast, but it's fine.
It doesn't matter. Like, I think getting out.
Yeah, no, I know that's the best part. Like, it's like I'm just cruising. So
I was like, as soon as I got, because I had my daughter in September, so I had two of them in September, one in February. I'm like, oh my God. But I had a chariot and I used to take the car seat, and I know they're like, well, you can't use a chariot until they're, but I was like, I took the car seat and I strapped it in that thing, and I went, oh yeah. Well, you think about it, you got the chariot, and then they're strapped in the car seat, which is strapped in the chariot, and I'm going like 10 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I am biking to town for a coffee because I live in the country. So like,
no, they're awesome ways to get around for sure. But I think that you can use them a bit younger now because they have the infant insert.
Oh yeah, they have that. Yeah, I got that too, and I was like, no. Yeah, I like that they're in the car seat
when they're next to it. It's not super great.
Yeah, and they're strapped in, and so you got double everything.
Yeah,
around them.
Never be too safe.
I know. I'm like, I am going to figure this out.
Yeah.
You go to baby groups.
Oh yeah, it's so fun.
But I see you've got a great network of moms.
Yeah, all my girlfriends from speed skating, actually, who I grew up with, and they all went. Were on the national team, and some went to the Olympics. We all got pregnant within like a month of each other, I want to say, and like
wow.
No one had talked to each other or planned it. It was like one person said, I'm pregnant, and then we all were like, me too, and it was just so weird. And so like it was more funny, like everyone was laughing at us, but it was like not planned, but made it great because we had a built-in mom group instantly, and we're all best friends, so we're just like, oh, like
oh my gosh. So what did they continue on after speed skating, or?
It had all been retired for a few years prior to having a baby. So I was the only one still in sport. Yeah.
Right. And did you finish up your school?
Yes, I finished school. I like jammed it in. Obviously, it was full-time when I got recruited into cycling. So I finished. I only had 1 year left. And so I got my degree before I started traveling everywhere because I don't know how I would have finished like the last year of school doing all of that. So yeah, so I had my degree, so that was awesome. But
so let's compare cycling, coaching, and being an elite athlete to a new mom and a new baby. Let's hear about that.
Well, I'm still very busy.
Yeah, of course we are.
Well, not strict schedule, but I mean, you're still very organized, but I would say like it's a big adjustment because elite sport, like it's, everything's all about you. You're measuring your sleep, everything, and your nutrition. And then all of a sudden you're a new mom and it's like, you don't sleep, you don't eat very well. And it's not about you, it's about the baby. But it's just like, so it was like a complete 180. But I loved it because it was for me, it was such a breath of fresh air to just like have a total shift and not be so focused on like how I'm feeling, all this stuff. Like, it was just like, doesn't matter. I didn't sleep last night. I'll have 6 cups of coffee. Like now I don't have to, like, I can go for a walk or a run and I can take like 7 breaks and just like, it was just like, I don't know, coming from elite sport for so many years, I loved it. I think I needed it. And yeah. But definitely being a mom is like the most rewarding thing ever because you see this little person that you love so much and you see them discovering the world, and it's just I think that's why I just like didn't really need bike riding anymore for me personally.
Yeah.
Like I felt fulfilled elsewhere. So yeah.
I really love that you say that, because I find that a lot of, moms, or not, well, not moms, women, we just carry our career and we just find so much focus on so many other things and never think about that part. For me, the same as you, like motherhood was amazing and I looked forward to it, and it is a huge shift. Like I wasn't like wasn't into sports like you, but the thing is that we have so much to give somebody else. Do you know what I mean? Like passing on our experience and our knowledge. And I just find that, well, maybe I'm biased, but like, or, if we didn't have somebody to pass that on, how, empty life would be. Do you know what I mean?
I just have always known I'd wanted kids. So
yeah,
it felt like a natural progression. Obviously, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. Like you have your moments where you're like,
oh,
like
wait till you have the second one.
Oh yeah, I know, I'm sure.
Oh,
but I don't know. I just like, and I do always. I can't like personally. Some days when I'm so busy, and I am just a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, I don't know how those moms do it that have a career. Like, kudos to them. Like, it's challenging. Like, definitely, like, moms are superheroes, I think.
Well, you're gonna be one of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I just think every mom is doing their best, and it's awesome to see different progressions or what they choose. But I after he was born, I got into coaching at the long track speed skating oval, and I thought that was really great for me as well, though, too, because it gave me that balance still of like I'm still doing something for myself, and I come home almost more energized because I even just took 2 hours away. So I still think that there's a good balance of still not forgetting yourself, but like, yeah. So
sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I know my husband's like taken off.
I'm sure
I'm glad that
any second.
Oh, is he awake?
I can hear him. He's probably drinking his milk upstairs.
Oh, you can bring him out if he gets like, you think he needs, because I mean this is what it's about, right? Like
losing you internet wise. He loves pulling out the router and he thinks it's like he's helping me, so he always comes with the internet router, and I'm like, oh. And so when we were doing our coaching courses, I kept stressing that he would grab the router. So I made this rule, like, he can't go on the stairs because it's like he knows exactly where to go. So yeah, so maybe.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Difficulty because of him.
But oh, so what was I saying after that? Oh no, so it's good that that you're back in there, like us, and being a coach and giving back, because like there's not as many women coaches out there.
No,
and
I think there's a lot more coming on the scene, but definitely there's a big gap for sure.
Yeah, and it's good that you went back to offer that, the coaching part, because then it also gives you an opportunity to work and leave the house.
Yeah,
which is important.
No, it's definitely like, it's nice to do something and get out, but like still have that mom home life where I'm not, it's not a 9 to 5. Like I was pretty lucky that way, that I could just go to the rink in the morning and be home by lunchtime. So that was helpful. But yeah, I love coaching. I kind of got the bug at the end of my road career when I was with the juniors at a junior camp, and I had so much fun with them, that age group, because I could see so many similarities from when I was that age, of just how you're so excited to do your sport, and it's just like basic, like it's fun. And I just knew I wanted to work with like kids that age group eventually. So kind of got me thinking that way post sport a little bit. But
that's great. Are you going to continue like coaching and maybe more with the juniors?
I'm doing obviously my cycling coaching levels right now through the NCCP, but it's just, I decided to do that because it's COVID and, you know, you're not leaving your house. So it's a great time to just get some stuff done.
Yeah.
Whether I was coaching long track last year at the speed skating oval, and whether it's in speed skating or cycling, hopefully I can do some cycling stuff. There's a great little youth cycling program here. It would be really fun to get involved. I don't really know the cycling scene here as much as, because the last few years I was in Montreal. So once COVID wraps up and you can see people again and like be involved with things, it would be fun to see what I can do with that. So yeah.
Ooh. That sounds exciting because, you know, you could probably do lots of stuff. Like you could start your own little team.
Yeah.
You could
writing programs from home, like you can still be a stay-at-home mom but involved. So there's lots of options, which is great.
I'm looking I've been thinking about getting into a more of a junior program, because right at here in Ottawa, Gatineau, I have a women's cycling club.
Okay.
And so I cater to a lot of, you know, female cyclists, 40 and up, masters, but more on a recreational line. And for me, I'm just like so competitive and I want to go out and like, I was hoping to get back to racing this summer.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice that this happened, because I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not quite ready yet, because I used to race and I used to coach. And I'm like, I know exactly what I need to do or will have to do to get back to being, you know, you feel that like
the process. So
yeah, I'm like, do I want to go through all that pain again? And training goals and hills and things. And but I'm like, well, I know that there's areas that need that boost, and the junior programs is definitely one for women, for girls.
Yeah.
Even for guys. It just, but girls tend to drop out a lot faster than guys do.
Absolutely. Especially in that age group. It's like, if they have the support and they have fun with it and their friends are in it, I think it's like the greatest opportunity. So many kids know how to ride their bike. They just don't know what's available, I would say. And
yeah. So that's why I kind of, it's in my future. I'm just not sure where it falls in place. And the nice thing is that my kids are kind of getting into that age group. Well, they're still young, but they like riding their bikes. And I think my son's going to be a huge mountain biker. I don't know. He's just got like an engine that doesn't stop, like running and biking. And I'm like,
well, it'd be fun if you can coach your kids or just like, you know, be involved, because then, I mean, it's double, like you overlap. So
yeah, I'm like, how do I channel this? I said, we need to put them in mountain bike camp all summer next year. Let somebody else teach them, and then I'll take them out. And then my daughter, the same. But you know, she likes gymnastics more, and I'm like, fine.
Yeah.
My older daughter did like 6 years of competitive gymnastics. I'm like, okay, I'll go back to the gym.
I did gymnastics when I was younger. I loved it.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's the basics of everything. And I'm like, so, but I also saw lots of kids go super hardcore into it super young. And mid-teenage.
Where, I mean, obviously their peak is a lot younger, so their lifespan is sport.
And then, you know, by 16, you're like, you know, if you made nationals, then
you're either injured or you're at the top. Like it's
hard you're either up there or down here. And but so I'm super excited about so do you have plans for yourself for the next, tell us about your next year?
Oh, well, I mean, at this point, it's like the next 4 weeks we're in lockdown, so that's it's
that's right.
Yeah, so
We were
Alberta.
supposed to come to Calgary.
Oh yeah, you probably aren't anymore.
My sister lives there.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so we were totally geared up for 10 days in Calgary and skiing and
I know my parents are on Vancouver Island, and oh, we have my little buddies up.
oh, bring him out.
Should we come say hi, buddy? Oh, we got some deadhead going on. This is
hello.
The light. Can you say hi? Can you wait?
Hi.
He's sometimes very shy.
Like I just woke up.
He kind of needs a haircut, but
I know now this is where you start becoming the hairdresser there.
I mean, oh my goodness, I'm so bad at that. But he's already had 3 haircuts, and he's only 18 months. His hair is just like a weed. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, he's super cute.
Wait.
I love your pajamas.
Oh, he's a nature baby. He loves trees. Like, we got our Christmas tree, and he just stands and smells it. Like, he just is in love with it. So I don't know how we're gonna take it down because it's like his favorite thing.
Well, when all the needles fall off.
Yeah, you know. You have a good sleep?
Hey. Huh? What do you think about being on the back of your mommy's bike?
You like biking?
Like it?
He's not really talking yet. He still says a few words, but usually he's really chatty. Like, as soon as I hang up, he'll just like start blabbing. Not that I know what he's saying yet, but we're getting there. Yeah.
You Zoom a lot with your parents?
Oh yeah,
this is kind of like, yeah, but I'm not quite sure who she is.
He's used to FaceTime. He's always talking to Nana and Papa. So.
Oh yeah.
So. Are you gonna go eat some breakfast?
You got to do lots of that these days.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, do you have plans, Kirsti, for the next year that you want to disclose?
I don't know. I mean, we're expecting another little guy, or we don't know, guy or girl. We have.
Oh, you don't know?
Yeah, no, we don't know.
How exciting! Two is amazing.
Yeah, I know, it'll be so fun. So in the spring, that'll be obviously another adventure, and then
that'll be awesome time because then you can get out immediately.
I know, and then you can be active and
yeah.
Are you talking now?
That was one thing when I came home. I'm like, okay, let's go for a walk. You want to go walking right now? I said, yeah.
Yeah. So we're pretty excited, and yeah, we'll just see when we can get into the coaching world and start getting to some bike races. So
you got lots of good years ahead of you. That's for sure. You make a comeback when you're, 36 or something.
I don't think there'll be any of that. I'll be the ultimate cheerleader. So
You'll be the coach.
Yeah. That's my role, right? We'll cheer for you. Whatever you choose.
We'll be coaching you and cheering you on. Your little Strider bike.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. Be so fun. Okay, you want to go for breakfast? Yeah? Can you wait? Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, with that, great ending.
Thanks for having me.
Into the family. Thank you so much for joining us today. And, we're going to have you back on here in about 2 years just to do a little check-in.
An update, life update.
A life update, a little coaching update. See where you ended up, track or speed skating or road.
Or all of them, we'll see.
Or all of them. We'll do the winter here and the summer here.
Just like a rotation. So yeah, no, it'll be great.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And you'll have yourself, I don't know if I could say Merry Christmas because I'm not sure when we'll be posting this, but I am so grateful to have had you. And we forgot to mention that we met at a coaching course.
Yeah, so that was awesome.
So there's a whole gang of us. You better watch out. New coaches in Canada.
Another wave coming. So
yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss one of our episodes. They come out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also check out my website, cyclingskillspro.com, for the latest cycling course, webinar, or downloads. Take care and have an amazing day. And don't forget, you're only one pedal stroke away from cycling like a pro.